The All Elite Wrestling AEW Welcome Back Tour drop kicks off on Wednesday, July 7th in Miami for AEW Dynamite Road Rager on TNT from the James L. Knight Center, which has some pro wrestling ties. Hey, hopefully that night, before and or after that big show, pun intended, we'll get to see some AEW Dark Elevation matchups with Tony Schiavone and Miami local Paul Wight calling the action. Wight, a.k.a. WCW's The Giant, a.k.a. WWE alum Big Show, is one of the newer members of the AEW team. And he's doing a good job on commentary. Another talent of multi-proportions. Thank you, Paul Wight. Tell us about how it feels to have pro wrestling, AEW, back on the road with fans, starting with Miami.
Well, for me, it's a short drive to work.
Yes.
But it's amazing to be back in front of the crowd. I mean, you know, we've all had to do what we've had to do this past year. Everyone's had to make sacrifices in their daily routines and their businesses and their lives. We've all learned how to Zoom, which is something I think before 2020 that I had no idea what a Zoom was. So with all the, things that we've had to overcome, it's fantastic to be in front of a live crowd again, to be able to perform. It's going to be great for the younger talent to feel that energy from a live crowd. So for me, I'm definitely happy as all get out to be in front of a live crowd, especially in Miami.
Hey, you mentioned that short drive. I was going to bring that up because that's always a bonus and all. Hey, but Paul, do you ever remember going to the James L. Knight Center for a show, for a concert? I know back in the day there had been some pro wrestling there. I think that might have been before you started, but I don't know. Have you ever been there for any shows or any concerts or anything at the James L. Knight Center?
I haven't caught anything. It's so funny because for years, Jim, I worked, 5 days a week for 20 years. I was on the road. So I was usually home a day and a half a week. So for 285, 290 days a year, I was on the road. So I didn't get to catch very many concerts unless they just happened to be somewhere where I was. I caught a few concerts at the American Airlines Arena. But other than that, I'm not much of a concert guy. I'm not much of a show guy. I worked too hard during my career.
Yeah, when it's your time, you like to just relax finally, especially on all that road travel and all. It was really cool, though, because back in the day, like one of the first WCW Monday Nitros, maybe the second or third overall, was actually held at James L. Knight Center. I know WWF had some house shows. Gerald Briscoe running around in the crowds. I remember those, talking to fans, giving away prizes.
Jim, I might have been at that James L. Knight Center. If it goes back to WCW back then, because that was in the first WCW Nitro was in October of 95, I think, and then it wasn't October. It was before that. It was just before that. No, maybe it was that 1st of October at the mall in Minneapolis. I think real soon after that, I might have been at that show in Miami. Come to think of it, I don't remember it, but I might have. That's the funny thing. When you get as old as I have, been hitting the head with as many chairs as I have, things are like brand new, even though you've been there before. So it's all good.
Hey, Paul, what do you like about AEW and just the opportunities that have presented itself?
Well, for me, I'm very fortunate to jump into this color commentating. This is a thing that I've always been a fan of. I always used to get frustrated back in the day with some of the commentating that was going on. They were, instead of talking about the talent in the ring, they were talking about something else, or the commentators were talking about themselves. And I was like, if I ever get the chance, I want to get into that old school color commentating like Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse Ventura, and even, Vince McMahon himself back in the day was an incredible color commentator. And to get a chance now to work with Tony Schiavone and Jim Ross and Excalibur, these guys have been, and even Taz. I take all this input in because I'm basically a rookie starting all over. So trying to get my own style and my own flavor and help enhance the talent in the ring and the story they're telling is unique. It's tough. You got to have your thoughts together though, because the action's happening fast, and by the time you think of something really good to say, it's already past its due date. You know what I mean? They're already on to something else. So if I could get a little bit faster with my short quotes, I think I'll get better at it. But it's all about reps, and I appreciate the opportunity.
The reps, exactly. And also, like you said, it's those short quotes because the action moves so fast. I think as fans, when we're watching, it's so different. But when you actually are mic'd up and are calling it, what was so far? Because this is still new to you. And I'll say this, Paul, you've done a very good job, especially for not having so much experience at that part of this discipline of pro wrestling. What are you learning, or what things are you trying to improve on or pick up, or are you even going back and watching some of the stuff you've already done just to learn from that?
Some of the stuff, I mean, I always watch the episodes when they come out, and I sit down and I watch them like a fan. Like, I know sometimes I don't speak loud enough in the microphone, which is one of my own personal criticisms. A lot of it is understanding the new maneuvers, or the maneuvers that the kids call them today. I mean, there's so many different movies, different maneuvers now that have all these fancy names, and with the influence of the, Japanese and Lucha Libre, that's really made such a huge impact, especially in the AEW, a lot of moves. I'm learning moves that I never knew the name of before. So that's another thing too, is just learning all the different names and learning the individual talent. That was one of the things I want to do, because I'm still going to compete in the ring. That's one of the things I want to definitely continue to do with that opportunity. But the color commentating has really given me a chance to understand the AEW talent and really understand the rhythm of how things go. Because it's a different rhythm than WWE. It's a completely different show. It's a different mindset. And I wanted to come in with an open mind and an open attitude and really sit down and learn my environment before I started competing in it. And this color commentary has been fantastic. A lot of fun, a lot of pressure, though, because you want to do right by the talent. I think that's the most important thing that I take away from it, is I really want to do right by the talent and the story that they're trying to get out there. And some of these kids, it's their first time on TV. It's their first time the world seeing them or getting to know them. So you want to try to tell their stories and build that audience connection with the talent and try to help facilitate that.
It is so important and such a vital role. Referees have such a vital role. Commentators have such a vital role, because it is about putting them over and making sure that they get their shine, and the fans hopefully will connect to that. It's an interesting dynamic. Paul, I love AEW Dark. I love AEW Dark Elevation. Two different shows in the way they present themselves, the commentators. I just wanted you to tell fans, too, who may not know, how would you describe AEW Dark Elevation and what it's all about?
Well, Elevation is I want to say it's our chance for younger talent that might not be able to be featured on our main show on TNT on Dynamite. It's a chance for younger talent to introduce themselves to the audience, to try new things, to try to make that connection with the audience. And that's one thing that they do on Elevation very well, is we used to do a lot of backstories on the talent. I've done some interviews with some of the talent, some sit-down interviews with them to really understand their background, where they're from, so that the audience has a better opportunity to evaluate how their relationship is with this talent. And that's the thing. They're not so constricted as you are on a main television program, on a main TV. There's certain time limits, and there's commercials, and there's things that have to be hit. So it's a much more regimented format on a major TV, whereas Elevation, there's a lot more freedom for the talent to explore their characters. And I try to tell, the main thing I tell the younger kids, the guys and the gals, is they really have to present this as an art form that they believe in. It's all the same moves. Yes, a backdrop's a backdrop, a hip toss is a hip toss. We understand all that, but it's how you interpret your character and your art, and how you present it, how you believe in it, is how you make that connection. And that's one of the things that I love about Elevation, is unlike other programming, Elevation is really up to the talent to pick and choose. There's no outside influence saying you have to do this, you stand here, you pose here, you flex here. There's none of that on Elevation. This is literally all up to the talent to go out and explore and find themselves and make mistakes, and also make successes and learn and grow from that. And I really like that environment, because I think it's a less stressful environment. It's more of an environment of expression and individualism and finding out who they are. And that's what I like about Elevation. Personal goals that I've seen so far.
It really gives indie talent, unsigned talent opportunity against some more established talent. And comes to mind is Red Velvet, who on AEW Dark made a name for herself and then got signed. And there have been others that have been signed. It really is a great opportunity. And I noticed too, Paul, that the commentary roles of AEW Dark Elevation, which is 7 p.m. Mondays on AEW YouTube, and AEW Dark, which is 7 p.m. Tuesdays on AEW YouTube, that the commentary teams are different in a sense. You and Tony seems are more regimented. We're calling the action. We're going to have a little fun, but we're going to call the action. Where on AEW Dark with Excalibur and Taz, it's a little more snarky, sarcastic. They just have so much fun with it and all. Did you watch their show too, just to see what they were doing, and then you guys decide, okay, we want to make sure these are different?
Well, no, that just happens. I think when Excalibur and Taz are very seasoned and very experienced what they do. And Excalibur, I got to say, this is painful as this is to say. It's not painful at all, but he's really tremendous at what he does as a commentator. He really understands the action. He understands the maneuvers. He understands the mechanics so well and is so quick at describing that action and relaying that action out there. Taz has such a great amateur background, and Taz really understands that mechanics. With Tony and I approached it kind of following what I envisioned myself as a color commentator would be to try to understand a little bit of what the talent's doing, what's in their mind, what should they be doing, what are they thinking, why are they making the decisions they're making in the ring, so that I can translate that to not necessarily about what maneuver is what maneuver, but just more of a story base of what the talent's trying to do. Why are they working this arm the entire time? Why are they going after the leg the entire time? Why are they, what are they trying to accomplish? And explain that in a way so the audience maybe understands what they're doing. Because sometimes, and like I say all the time too, it's really easy for us to sit on the outside and call all this action, but when you're in the ring, things are a lot different as action's happening versus watching it. So, who knows? You're making decisions in the ring that you think are good that may not turn out well. And that's just part of being in the moment and living it. So I think Tony and I just approach it with the same enthusiasm, the same fun, and the same goal of trying to, give these younger talents the most exposure that we can and give them the best, present them in the best light possible.
It's informational, explanational, and analytical as well, with you and Tony presenting it.
Make the big bucks. That's why I love you. That was perfect.
No, I got that from you. We're a good team, Paul. We're a team.
Come on, man.
Hey, Paul, it's interesting in a sense. I know you said that you still want to compete. You still want to wrestle.
Right.
And I'm putting you on the spot a little bit, but have you seen anyone on AEW Dark Elevation that you're like, and it could be a few names, wow, hey, that one I'd like to get in there with, or hey, this one's got a chance to do something, whether it's with me or someone else?
Well, there's a lot of the younger guys in there. I see a lot of talent. I mean, if I went to the top, I'd go right to our champion, the top, Kenny Omega. I know for a fact in a situation with Kenny Omega, we could tear the house down. Kenny Omega is that good. He could have a match with anyone. But me working a bigger giant style with an athlete like Kenny Omega, we could definitely rip the house down, rip it apart. I think Kenny Omega, Lance Hoyt, the Murder Hawk, he's just so big and impressive and vicious. I like to get in the ring with Miro again, because Miro has really evolved since the last time that Miro and I worked together. And I would love to work with Miro again. He's so vicious and aggressive, and his combative style will mix up really great with me and kind of a good slugfest. Wardlow is another younger talent that's coming up that has a lot of potential. Jake Hager, of course, I battled with him back in the day. He used to break all his trophies, and he's really seasoned up. So it'd be fun. There's a lot of guys I would like to get in there and mix it up with again. That's the thing. Hangman Adam Page is another one. Just guys that I kind of put myself in situations. I tell the younger guys to do this all the time. When you're driving down the road, or if you're in a car ride or on a plane flight, or doing something where you can have a little thought time to yourself, you should have matches in your head with guys. And I've done that since day one. Walked in, I'll pick a guy, I watch his moves, and then I'll have matches in my head with him. Offense, defense, story, heel, face, all that stuff. I do talent there in AEW that I'm looking forward to mixing up with. I'm looking forward to having the chance to express my own character without being quite so micromanaged as well either. You know, after 4 decades, this is going to be the first time where I have complete control over my character, if that makes any sense, on what I choose to do in the ring and how I choose to present it. So for me, that's an exciting time. It's definitely unique. I won't have anybody looking over my shoulder, that's for sure.
Paul, it's unique and exciting, yes. I also would think, though, it's a little more, you've been in this a long time, so maybe this word's a little harsh, but a little more pressure in the sense that, hey, this is you, this is your idea. If it works, great. If it doesn't work, no one else to point the finger at but yourself.
Oh, the pressure is unreal for that. Because, and here's the thing, too, you know, I've got to look at this, too. There's a lot of incredible young talent out there, and I've been doing this a long time. So, I mean, you've got to look at this honestly and say, hey, you know, maybe nobody wants to see me anymore. Maybe they don't. So I got to come through this as authentically and sincere as I can and believe that, you know, if you work hard and you put good work out there, people are going to be receptive to it. There are going to be people that will endorse it. There are going to be people that won't endorse it. You know, the only thing I can do is go out there and set a bar and an example of, you know, telling good stories, working with guys, getting guys over that I work with, and getting myself over and showing people that, you know, it can be done. You know, I've got all this experience and all this knowledge, and if I can't apply it in a positive way, then I should hang up my boots. So, yeah, the pressure's there. I probably put that pressure on myself, but that's, I think after my career, my first match was against Hulk Hogan for the world title, so I think I'm okay for pressure. I respond well to it, so we'll see.
That's, when you say that, I'm laughing in a just respectful and also just shaking my head way. First match and you're wrestling for the title against Hulk Hogan. That to me still, I don't care how many years go by, that's still just one of the all-time greatest feats in professional wrestling.
Yeah, I should have quit after that. I mean, straight to the penthouse.
Yeah, how could you go up from there? Exactly.
Yeah, what was I thinking, trying to learn how to work? Arn Anderson told me that a long time ago. He's been my mentor and friend. He said, the dumbest thing you ever did, kid, was learn how to work. So, you know.
Oh my God! And hey, you're there with Arn now, with Arn in AEW, which is really cool. A lot of great talent working behind the scenes and helping others as well, like Arn. So that's really cool.
Well, it's good to be around so many people that I have known for years and worked well for years with Billy Gunn and Chris Jericho and now my brother from another mother, Mark Henry, transition over, and you know, there's just a lot of people that we've all been in the same fires, we've been in some of the same battles over the years, and there's just an incredible respect factor that goes on back there with Dustin and Cody and everyone. So it really balances out well. I think that was one of the biggest things that was different when I first got there. I was waiting to see the ego clicks or the ego clinics and see who was what and what was who and how things balanced out. But surprisingly, it all balances out very well. You know, Tony Khan is very open and encouraging to all the talent, and everybody has a sense of working together and working hard, not working against each other. So that's a different. WWE was always about pushing each other and, you know, not afraid to step on each other's toes to get ahead, where this environment seems a little bit more inclusive of everyone pulling each other up. You know, from the women's division, the men's division, all the way around. I see everybody working hard together to get better, and that's a positive environment to grow.
Well, Paul, we're coming up on the time limit here, but I do want to throw in 2 more questions and get you out of here.
Sure.
Mark Henry, you mentioned him, your friend, joining AEW. He'll be on commentary, AEW Rampage, new show, Friday nights on TNT, I believe beginning in August. Did you have any talks? Did Mark reach out to you just to say, hey, what do you think of this? Did you have any input whatsoever? Or even afterwards, when he signed, just talking with Mark about being part of the AEW team?
No, we both lied to each other. Like, I lied to him before I went to AEW. Then when he was coming to AEW, he lied to me about coming. So we both, the term of the business is called kayfabe, and we're old timers, and we appreciate kayfabe. And I mean, he did that 2 years ago when he had on that pink salmon jacket and was going to retire and dropped his boots at the stage, and I was at home watching, and I got all emotional, and then he turned heel and got me all upset. If I'd have been there, I'd have kicked his butt. But
best promo ever. It's ranked right up there. Oh my God, that was just one of the best. He fooled us all.
Fooled me. I'm at home in tears thinking, man, my friend's doing it, and he set me up. So him and I lived to do that for each other. So it didn't surprise me that he didn't tell me, nor was he surprised that I didn't tell him. But it's going to be great to see. A lot of people don't understand what Mark brings to the table. He's got a lot of experience. Mark is really good about recognizing talent and seeing the potential of talent. A lot of great superstars over the past 10, 15 years that WWE has had. It's because, Mark has seen that talent and brought that talent attention to, NXT or to WWE and say, hey, y'all really need to look at this person because this person has talent. So Mark does have that unique eye for picking a star. So it'd be nice to see him applying that confidence and that unique skill set to AEW and helping the younger talent get more exposure and building some big stars, some international stars.
And now the last question, and we'll wrap this up. AEW returning to touring with fans, and it all kicks off with Road Rager, AEW Dynamite and TNT on July 7th, a Wednesday, in Miami at the James L. Knight Center. Yes, South Florida. I think that we might see Paul Wight versus Shaq at some point in AEW.
I hope so at some point. I think, it's been like the biggest tease ever between Shaq versus me for how many years and how many... at some point, either we never do it because we can't live up to the tease, or we need to hurry up and do it and before it gets to be yesterday's news, if that makes any sense. But yeah, that was a great match, though. Going back to that match, I thought Shaq did a great job in that match, and Cody did as well. It's funny, I saw that Cody did a lot of things in that match that he used to do against me, so that's why I was making he's fought champions before, because I didn't know. That's funny. That's funny because it's, I've seen Cody fight the same way against another tall guy.
Yeah, I wonder who that was.
John did great. Jade did great. That was one of her first matches, too. So that was a big match for Jade, and it was a big match for Red Velvet, too. Like, that whole thing came off really, really good for everybody involved. So that was a good deal. Hopefully I get to wrestle Shaq, but, who knows, Jim? The powers that be and the way the world works, hopefully. You know what I mean? What I do need to talk to Shaq about is getting me a Krispy Kreme franchise. That's what I need to talk about.
Oh, man, don't start with that. If it's not Krispy Kreme, it's Arbetters.
Arbetters, dude. Arbetters, yeah. Arbetters is a classic. There's no doubt. But I don't. It's funny. They revamped Arbetters, and they're doing a lot better now. There was at one point I was actually thinking about trying to buy Arbetters a while ago, a few years ago. I was thinking about it.
July 7th is AEW in Miami, and July is the 62nd anniversary of the original Arbetters in Miami. Maybe we'll have Arbetters at the James L. Knight Center for the show.
That's actually a pretty cool idea, Jim. That's a pretty cool idea.
Well, Paul, listen.
Reach out there and see, make something happen.
Yes! Talk to Mr. Khan. We can get it going.
Maybe, why not? That'd be a great little local thing. Get Arbetters in there.
Yes! All right, Paul, listen, we went over. I thank you so much. Thank you for the extra time. And always, we'll see you down here in your hometown now for this huge event happening at James L. Knight Center, Wednesday, July 7th, Road Rager AEW. Thank you so much.
I appreciate it.